Hi friends, it's Alejandra from the Orland Public Library. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of my favorite books to read this time of year. The weather is getting colder, fall is here, winter is coming, so this kind of weather makes me really want to cozy up with a great book. And for me, this time of year, that is a romance book. I think they're just wonderful things to lose yourself in, especially when some things in the world get a little too crazy for you. It's always nice to take a step back from that and just immerse yourself into a great book. So I have about 4 books that I'm going to share with you today that I hope you'll pick up and read and enjoy as much as I have. So the first book that I have is The Upside of Falling. This is by Alex Light, and our main characters are Becca and Brett. Becca is an avid reader, so that's one thing that we definitely have in common, and one thing that made me feel really connected to her. Brett is just on the football team, and they kind of start dating as a way to get people in their lives to shut up about their dating life. Becca's mom is always wanting her to have a romance, to have a boyfriend, to find that fun thing that her mom had when she was younger. And the same is kind of true with Brett's dad. So then they start dating as a way to kind of get rid of that pressure of actually finding somebody to date, because they both know that it's just pretend. So it kind of goes from there, and we watch them go from being not even friends, they really only know each other in school, to being friends, to maybe being something more. And we're here to watch how that unfolds. And this is a great book. It's not very long at all. This is also a great audiobook if you're interested at all, because there are 2 narrators. There's a narrator for Becca, and there's also a narrator for Brett. So it does kind of help you imagine them a little bit better when you can hear their different voices and see the 2 points of view, and kind of see what's going on behind the scenes even when the other person isn't there. So this is a great book, and I highly recommend it if you're just looking for something light to read, or just something cozy. So the next book that I have is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. I think a lot of people are pretty familiar with this story by now. Like you can see on the cover, it is a Netflix movie now, and the second one is out as well. This is a series of 3 books, so this is the first of the 3. Laura Jean writes a bunch of letters that she never means to send out. They are just letters for her, and they accidentally get sent out. So there are to all the boys that she's loved, and she has to find a way to kind of deal with the fallout of that, of dealing with the things that she said in her letters that she never meant for anybody to read. And we kind of go along the journey with her to see which one of those 5 boys, or if none of those 5 boys, are the ones that she will end up falling in love with and end up creating a wonderful story with. The third book that I have for you guys is a little older, but it's still great. It's Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This one is slightly longer than the rest. The idea is that Cather is going to school. She has a twin sister named Wren, so Cather Wren. And she is kind of dealing with being at school on her own. It's really the first time she's ever been on her own. Like I said, she has a twin, and it's always been the 2 of them for everything. But Wren wants to get away from that, so that means that Cather has to learn to deal with the world on her own and try and be her own person and her own individual for really the first time in her life. And that means that she ends up with a really strange roommate that she kind of gets along with, kind of doesn't, and is kind of scared of. And then through that roommate, she ends up meeting a guy, and who kind of just is in her life now because he's in her roommate's life. So she has to learn to deal with that. And on top of everything, she is an avid reader as well. She's also a writer. She enjoys writing her own book. And if you enjoyed this book, there is a spin-off of the fan fiction that she writes in here. So the fan fiction that she writes in here has actually been turned into a novel. So if you find that you really enjoy this book and you want to learn more about the novel or the fan fiction that she writes in here, that is also an option for you. So that's also just really cool to have more to read if you really enjoy something from an author. And Rainbow Rowell, her writing style is just so wonderful. It flows so nicely, and it just makes you think about things in a slightly different way every single time. And this is one of my favorite romance novels. I also just love the main guy character. He's just so sweet, and he's not pushy. He lets her kind of steer the relationship because she's the one that's hesitant to start anything with him because she's scared of being on her own for the first time. And I think that this is just such a sweet novel to read if you're looking for something slow, something romantic. This is a great one to turn to. And the fourth book that I have is actually a book that I've already done a book talk on, but I felt I needed to mention it again. It's Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. Like I said, I do have an in-depth book talk about this if you're interested at all, but this is by far, I would say, the most modern of the books that I have today, only because there are so many pop culture references in here. They tweet. I mean, of course, it's called Tweet Cute. That's how our main characters really meet. They do know each other in school, but the way they meet is through Twitter. They start a Twitter feud over their restaurants, and that's kind of where everything starts and where things take off. So they are constantly talking about roasting somebody, or, you know, whatever tweet came out or how many hits they got or things like that. So I think that if you're into the more, I don't know if modern is the word I'm looking for, but something that you could relate to right now, I think this is an absolute wonderful book to turn to. And like I said, this one is also a great audiobook. This is also dual point of view. And the one thing that I find particularly sweet is that the main girl character is Pepper and the main boy character is Jack. Pepper Jack, like the cheese, because they go together. So, like I said, the audiobook is also 2 narrators, 1 for each. And the book itself is dual point of view as well. So that's personally my favorite, is always dual point of view, because I love seeing everything that's going on behind the scenes and kind of how things are unfolding as the whole story goes, so that you get both sides of the story and you can see what's happening. And like I said, with the audiobook having 2 points of view, it's wonderful to be able to read and listen to the narrators and the different narrators and kind of picture the characters as you're going along. So like I said, if you would like to see the other review that I have for this one, please do so. But if you are looking for anything, like I said, sweet, light, something that'll just make you want to cozy up into a blanket with a hot chocolate or a warm drink, then I think any of these would be great to turn to. So I hope that gave you guys some inspiration, or maybe there are some other books that you would love to read, and please let us know what those are. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.